Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the Captain's Log. It's 2:45 in the morning on the 18th of October 2020. I am at my last stop for the day, but they don't open until 4, so I just gotta sit here for an hour and a half. So if you're take a quick minute to record the intro to the 14th edition of the Captain's Log. Today, what I'm planning on doing is just quickly giving an update on what I've been doing the last couple of weeks and what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. So the last 2.5, 3 weeks since record the last Captain's Log has been really busy at work. As you can imagine, summer's winding down and schools are opening up, and a lot of things are starting to slowly get back to normal. So we've been really busy trying to keep up with the demand. But I have elected to go back to a 5-day work week instead of a 6-day work week. So I'll be off on. I'll get home sometime early Thursday morning, and I'll be off until sometime Saturday afternoon. So basically get 2 days off, and this coming week, will be doing my first lesson in a twin engine airplane. I've got a whole bunch of study materials that I'm working on right now, and there's so much to take in and so much to remember. This is my first time ever flying an airplane with two engines. Up until now, all of my training has been done in a single engine airplane. This particular airplane is a Beechcraft Duchess, which is a 4-place or 4-seat twin engine trainer airplane. It's not overly powerful. It's a little bigger than I would say a family sedan. It has counter-rotating props. So what that means is the left side engine turns one direction and the other turns the opposite direction. So I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the left engine rotates if you're looking away from the airplane. If you're looking straight ahead, it rotates toward the airplane, so that would be clockwise, and the right-hand engine rotates counterclockwise towards the airplane. So you figure the way that the plane's designed it helps negate some of that left turning tendencies of an airplane. It kind of makes it a little bit easier to manage. That's why it's a trainer. It is a low wing, retractable landing gear, T-tailed airplane, which means the elevators or the flat section of the tail is above, it's high on the airplane instead of low, kind of roughly in line with the main wing. If you think of like an old school DC-9, how it had the tails really high, that's basically what it is, a T-tail. And it has retractable landing gear. So I just finished my training in the Cessna 182, and when I did that added three more things to learn. So it added a constant speed propeller, which means the pilot can control the pitch of the propeller or how much bite of air the propeller is taking, and it has a much more powerful engine than the Cessna 172s I've been flying. So that makes it high performance. And it also has retractable landing gear and flaps, so that makes it a complex airplane. So I just finished my high performance complex training in that particular airplane. every time you go to a different plane, you should get um, a thorough instruction and a thorough checkout before you fly it by yourself. Um, so what I'll be doing this coming Thursday, which if you're watching this has already happened. Um, Thursday night we'll have the first ground lesson, which basically covers the overall um, uh, workings of the airplane. And then on Friday morning, we're going on basically a 2.5, 3 hour familiarization flight. And we'll go out there and do some basic air work. So, climbs, descents, turns, um, climbing turns, descending turns, um, and some practice landings. So just the whole idea is basically get accustomed to the airplane. Um, and then the second day, we're doing some ground lessons of aerodynamics and the fuel systems and the hydraulic systems and the electrical systems and all that. And then the next flight, we're going to be adding engine failures. So any place you can think of that an engine can fail, we'll practice it. So on the takeoff run, if it fails, when we're on the runway, if it fails just after we lift off, if it fails, as we start to climb out, does it fail in what we consider cruise flight? And the whole idea of multi-engine training is not really learning how to fly, because you learn how to fly in your primary training. The multi-engine training is you're trying to learn how to fly a two-engine airplane on only one engine, and that causes a lot of how can I say it to make it make sense? A lot of the differences in the way the airplane performs and handles, and so we'll learn how to fly on one engine. We'll learn how to do checklist items while you're in the air. That way, if you do have an engine failure, you learn how to figure out which engine has failed and troubleshoot it, see if you can start it again. And then we'll be doing some engine out landings up at altitude. So we won't actually be landing on the runway. We'll be flying about, I think the instructor said about 7,000 feet or so. And we'll practice those kind of landings at altitude. So let's say we're flying at 7,000 feet, or let's say our fictitious airport is at 7,000 feet above the ground, and we'll be flying like say 9,000 feet. Then we'll come in and do a simulated landing, and then 7,000 feet. Once we get down to 7,000 feet, that will be our simulated landing. And the whole idea is when you're practicing those kind of things, you want to practice them at a decent altitude so you have a safety margin in that way in case something happens and you were inadvertently stall the airplane. And stalling doesn't mean have anything to do with the engine. I know we're talking about failing engines, but stalling has to do with lift and whether or not the airplane is flyable or if it's falling out of the sky. And that way, if something were to happen and you would inadvertently stall or get into a spin, you'd have time to recover and then, try again. Spin training is not a part of this program. I did spin training when I was in primary flight training. It's not a required item, but I wanted to do it just in case I ever did inadvertently get into a spin. I want to actually know how to recover from it and how the airplane handles, how keep the airplane, controllable. And then we'll be doing learning how to start the engine in the air using the air as a starter. and so that should be something interesting. So that's the 2 main days of flying. So that's they're thinking that'll take anywhere between 5 to 7 hours of flight training, and then we'll do 2 more flights to hone those skills, and then hopefully at that point in time I'll be ready for the check ride. If I'm not, and if I'm struggling with some aspect, we'll go out there and practice that aspect, and those kind of things. I'm not instrument rated yet, so we're not worried too much about flying on instruments. Um, that'll come later. I'm waiting to next spring to do my instrument training only because I actually want to try and get as much flight time in the clouds as I can. It's one thing to wear, they call it a view limiting device or hood that covers up your eyes so you can't see outside the airplane, you can only see inside the airplane. But that's no substitute for flying in real conditions. So I want to try and get as much actual instrument conditions as I can, um, just because you can't cheat when you're in the clouds. You can cheat with the hood on. You can lift your head up just a little bit and you can peek outside. But if I'm out there flying, I want to be sure that I can do it safely. So the problem is getting up here in the upper Midwest. We'll be getting into ice, and you don't want to get ice on the airplane. If it's not designed to be flown in those conditions. So we'll have to. I'm gonna wait till spring till it starts to warm up. So that ice is always a problem. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. If you're at the right altitude, you can get into icing conditions. So hopefully, the temperatures will be warm enough and the clouds will be low enough that I'll be actually flying them without getting any issues with ice. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next probably 5 weeks. I'm taking probably 2 of those weeks off, so I'm supposed to start this the 24th with the training. Today is the 18th, so I have to go out to deal with some family matters out in California. So I am hoping when I get back, I won't need too much refresher. It'll hopefully still be in my head, and I'll hopefully be able to take my check ride around the first week of December, before it starts to get really cold. So that's what I'll be doing. At the end of this video, this little intro I'm doing here, I'm going to include probably, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes of my first multi-engine flight lessons. I hope you stick around and watch that. So on that note, I'll call it a day. Have a good day. Thanks for listening and watching the Captain's Log. We'll see you in the next run. I like the 650 better. Just type it in our...
Yeah.
Alright, so we have any final checkoff items before we start rolling here?
No, I just kind of go through the flow. Alright, check your trim,
Gas
down, fuel selector on, carb heat off, make sure full rich, and fuel aux pumps on, and then you're checking your bags.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Yep.
First time taking off in a twin engine airplane, so this might be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good for you.
Yeah, a minute. St. Cloud Tower, Duchess 6638 Hotel, holding short Alpha 1 ready for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, right turn to the north, Duchess 6638 Hotel.
Alright, clear right.
You do a rolling takeoff or static takeoff, does it matter?
They don't matter.
Okay, my heart's starting to beat
let's try static takeoff since it's your first time here and you're a little nervous. We'll just run it up to 2,000 RPMs and just double check. We call this the tree.